Film and production company A24 has been pioneers when it comes to modern cinema, whether it be horror flicks like Midsommar, Hereditary, or Lighthouse, or films that drive suspense and anticipation. A24 has been pushing the boundaries of cinematography, lighting, and storytelling. And with the release of A24's newest film, The Northman, just being released, I want to take some time to share one of my favorite A24 films, The Tragedy of Macbeth. As the title suggests, The Tragedy of Macbeth is an adaptation of the Shakespearean play Macbeth. There have been many adaptations of the Shakespearean play, but how does The Tragedy of Macbeth, directed by Joel Cohen, stand out from the other lot of Macbeth movies? Unlike his predecessor films, Joel Cohen uses his knowledge of lighting, camera work, and cinematography to create a Macbeth story that feels as if you are watching a cinematic play rather than watching a movie with the script of Macbeth. So how does Joel Cohen create a film that looks and feels like a play while still keeping the dynamics of a film? To understand how and why The Tragedy of Macbeth feels like a play, we first have to break down what makes a play vastly different from a film. In theater, an actor or actress performing in a play must play their role with over-exaggerated movements, emotions, and delivery of lines. In theater, it is important to understand that the less exaggerated the movements and emotions are, the harder it is for the audience to pick up cues and emotions during the performance. Whereas in films, the camera has the ability to pick up the slightest details of an actor's performance, whether it be the twitch of an eye or a look of rage and frustration. In filmmaking, the less is better. In The Tragedy of Macbeth, Joel Cohen takes these two important aesthetics of playmaking and filmmaking and combines them together. The Tragedy of Macbeth utilizes slow camera movements throughout the movie as actors perform long lines of dialogue and monologues rather than having scenes with multiple shots, which creates this feeling as if you, the audience, are watching a full performance of an actor, similar to watching a theater play.
Out, brief candle. Life is but a walking shadow. A poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury.
The design of the sets in The Tragedy of Macbeth also play a major role in making Macbeth feel like a cinematic play. Sets are very practical in Macbeth, which makes each location and set feel like a stage, but also allows for very unique and distinctive lighting choices. A major directorial decision that was made was to film Macbeth in black and white instead of the standard coloring of films. While this is not uncommon for films, especially A24 films, using black and white adds for a unique form of contrasting values, which makes lighting dynamic but still simplistic. What makes The Tragedy of Macbeth stand out from other films is that Joel Cohen utilizes all dimensions of filmmaking and playmaking to truly make this adaptation of Macbeth feel like a cinematic play.